last time on The Empire's Edge.
You are now bullets.
Mine to hit is significantly lower.
Oh my gosh! You just rolled
8d12.
8d12.
Yeah, 52 points of damage.
Dungeons and Dragons, the most fun you'll ever had with first grade math.
I want to jump on 2 of them if I can.
Neat. I touched the thing.
Okay, he touches the hand. Be ready.
Making a note on my map where this place is.
Well done, Pixies. Thank you.
We've destroyed the temple, so I'm satisfied.
So you do believe you found what would be most likely the location where these leaves of the Adlai should be. So as before, the room is huge, this temple area, and you can see where there's the cracked column where the Adlai-like column would be.
Is it a room or just like a few feet of wall defining a room?
It's more like a few feet of wall defining
Okay, yeah, because I was picturing, an open ruin.
Now, what does make it seem like you're inside is that there's enough trees in this area that it creates a canopy, so it still has that feeling of being inside. But the largest feature that seems unusual...
My brain went right to Bjorn's house in The Hobbit.
But it seems unusual to you,
I don't know
Boris,
what that is.
Is this large dome. Yes, read The Hobbit. A large dome that's just south of where the Adlai-like column would be. And it's massive. I mean, this whole area is hundreds of feet across. When this was one room...
Is it a clear dome or...
no, it is. It's like a solid stone.
Wow, but that's a lot to try to build. So does it have a floor or is it just forest floor? Can we tell?
The floor of this massive room you're in was definitely stone. Worked in very carefully placed stone. It's cracked in some places. Different sections are separated from others. There are trees growing up inside it, so it isn't as though it's you're walking in a jumbled, unusual area.
And our belief is that the leaves should be in that domed area or here somewhere. Yeah.
Well, again, the dome, I was pointing it out or making a note about it, is because for you, Boris, you've seen the inside of different temples to Ukko, and you're familiar with the layout. And this one fits the same way that in a very small version, Timothy's temple fit the same
one
thing.
In Warland, yeah.
And you can even guess what the inside of an Adlai tree looks like, though you've never actually seen one, that special chamber therein. But this dome seems out of place. It's something different. And that's why it just seems... It'd be
a holdover from an older religion or something lost in my more modern version. Right,
whatever that proto-religion was, this could have been a something.
So are you sharing this with us, that this aligns with, kind of aligns with the temple?
Yeah, I would share that this is something different than the temple I'm used to.
And looking around, it's not like the leaves are just sitting on that table over there. It's like, have we done a good search around this room?
They're suspended 90 feet above us with a tree growing through. No, dang it! That is actually how leaves work.
So,
well, we answer that question first. So no one has, Jacob, that if it is a case of where Michael or someone brought it here 400 or 500 years ago, this could have been an intact room. So I guess it's conceivable that you could find them right here, right now, if you want to look around.
Yeah, I'll start doing that.
And if you, Boris, knowing that it's a temple or it kind of has that outline, where would the altar be? Because that, to me, seems like the most likely place.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd indicate where the altar is, and then honestly start setting up a base camp here.
Okay. Yeah, you could set up a camp here if you.
Yeah. Well, I'm anticipating staying a few days.
Trying to search all this?
Yeah, searching through not just here, the most likely, but then also potentially branching out in other locations, using our various detection abilities, trying to find someplace that is either, for me, still consecrated or desecrated.
That's until I find them sitting in one of the back pews right now, right?
No, it's just in a box under, tucked by the door. We didn't even need to cross the threshold.
Right. I was wondering if you could check this space to see if it's consecrated still, if this would be a good place. And I'm going to turn Detect Magic on the wand and start sweeping the space too, just to see if I find any magical hotspots.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I will do my thing and see if there's dead guys nearby. Or
Are we in forest or mountains for the purposes of favorite
terrain?
terrain?
We're in a city that's been overcome by forest.
Cool. All right.
Given that we're literally standing under a chapel of trees, I hope forest.
Just want to make sure.
Just to make sure of the numbers,
23 or 26 rather.
So while you two, that is Zelen and Boris, were conferring about what could be here magical-wise, something like that, Jacob's been doing a circuit inside the room itself, and I'll drive this for your character. You probably would have stepped outside a couple of times too, because you notice something right off, that there used to be a ceiling to this place, and if it collapsed, this should just be a rubble field, and it's not.
Oh.
And then when you go outside, you're seeing sign of curved interior of dome, other features you could imagine that used to be part of the walls and the ceiling of this place. And they are all around the outside of this place. So even as this place was, falling into extreme decay and decline, it didn't just eventually collapse because of its own weight and lack of maintenance, Jacob. Something, it looks like, blew up.
Yeah, that's what Siegecraft was saying.
Are you sharing this with us?
When I get back inside, does it seem like it was forceful enough that it blew rock far away, or does it seem like maybe some of these trees, as they were growing from the inside of the thing, pushed it and it just kind of fell to the sides? How far am I finding the debris?
Arcana with that. So never mind. When you said you were looking how far you found debris from this, it would look to you like the city was largely in decay. Many buildings had already fallen down. And this building must have still been intact. Whatever it was about the structure of this was even better than most. It looks like something truly blew up.
That's not good.
Now, it's long ago enough that it wasn't the trees themselves just growing up, but they've grown up in the interim. A long time ago.
So if you share that with us, I'm going to yell out and say, check for burns. Do the rocks look burnt? Do they look
melted?
Or melted?
Oh yeah, like the what we found on the pathway in.
Something dragonfire, something.
You do find the same kind of evidence that there is melted stone.
Lovely. I will bring that back to the group and share my amazing findings.
Have I watched the documentary Game of Thrones to know that dragonfire does actually blow up buildings?
Dragonfire melts steel beams. I know that much.
So
okay.
What's next?
So I'm doing the magic wand.
Yeah, I checked for concentration,
metal detector check,
or dead stuff.
Okay, so
or space stuff.
Magic wand. What's the range in its detection?
Well, I'm going to walk
30.
around with it.
Yeah, 30 feet from you and
it's
it.
an orb or a
30
sphere.
feet.
Yeah,
For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of me.
All right, so you are detecting a magic that's around that dome area.
Okay, so if you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic. And I learn at school.
It looks like the actual dome itself has a faint aura of magic, and you think it would be transmutation.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to share that with everybody else. Transmutation magic on the dome itself. Yeah. So does that
scream
not actually a
door
dome
to anyone
right?
else?
Yeah, exactly. Or a portal to like someplace that I maybe don't want to be.
So
I'm not sure we want to be here.
I'm not big into magic.
I just blowed up.
Maybe. Is it coming from a particular area, or is it just like the dome as a whole?
Jacob, as you are like thinking about that on what she had just said, and I'll give Boris your findings a moment ago about consecration.
Okay, I'll happily take Jacob's findings about consecration.
You've not really gotten that close to the dome itself to do a detailed examination, because there still is debris around it, uneven things on the floor. When you get to it, it isn't even as if you have to roll a survival check to search and be, really crickly-eyed ranger. You get to the one side of it, and there's a big crack in the one side. And it's a big enough crack that as you're looking down into it, as far as you can see before the light gives out, that it's a huge space down below there. You don't see stairs or anything, but you could definitely move down through that crack. You're just noting it's big enough for it, too.
So wait a minute. We could move through a big crack from the outside to go under the dome?
Right. Yeah, to go through the dome. Now, back to Boris. You believe that this had been a consecrated space. You could just walk in and tell that it had been, but something ripped that consecration right out of it, that this place has been truly defiled.
Wow. I wonder if that's what caused the explosion.
Or is at least related to it.
Right.
Yeah,
wow.
I share that with everyone so they're on their guard.
What can do that? Do you know?
Very powerful magic. Or divine intervention vis-a-vis if they failed Uko in such a catastrophic way that Uko was like, okay, taking that back.
Wow.
So I think we should just rest here for the night, because
I agree.
Camp is already set and you get our stuff back.
Right. Well, and there's different spells. If we're going to explore that crack, if we're going to try to look to see what this dome is, I'd like to have a different set of spells, and I'd like to have all of my spells.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would say not here, though. Do you really want to sleep in a defiled temple overnight?
It's already set up. We slept near a tomb.
Yeah,
actually, no. We slept in a tomb.
You slept in a tomb, yeah.
So
it wasn't inherently evil, though.
It literally was desecrated and had loads of undead in it.
I'd remember Budapest very differently. Okay.
What's a Budapest?
Yeah.
All right, so are we taking a long rest so I can hit?
Yeah, but definitely packing up our gear so we can set up somewhere else and not make this our base camp.
Yeah, and definitely setting watches.
Yeah.
All right, so roll a survival for me, Jacob, just to see if you can find a building or a locale nearby that would be. You are staying here. You're not staying here.
We already set up camp here,
never mind.
so we're camping here.
Right.
Then later we'll find somewhere else with a better base camp.
I understand. So, any other precautions or setup things you guys are doing, spell-wise or physical?
Since we're about to go to sleep, I'll go ahead and set some alarm spells around the place, just in case another violet shows up.
That's great. So
that's a great idea.
All my spells are hit things with stick, so yeah, I'll let him handle that.
there are two areas that you think would be the easiest traffic pattern to come into this space, this big circular, what had been this massive temple. And you could set, two of them on one and one of them on the other, or just set two, whatever you're going to do. But, something could go over the wall in a lot of places, but the most likely, with the theory of Lanish, the easiest way to get in, you could definitely cover those with yours.
I got 3 of them, so I'll use all of them and then just set it to a place that just gives me the best idea of best coverage of the pathways coming in. So probably 2 on one on the other.
Yeah,
whichever one I think is the most traveled one. 2
right,
there.
so then 2 on the western side of the building and 1 on the eastern side of the building.
That's what I do.
All right, sounds good. Unless you wanted to put 1 on the crack in the dome itself.
You know what?
Yeah, let's do that.
That's a good idea.
I figured that's one where you were putting it.
Yeah, can you set... is Alarm a spell that you can cast at higher levels?
Oh, you tell
Good
me.
hit. I'm looking at it, and usually it has like a thing right afterwards that lets you know that you could cast it at higher levels, but it doesn't.
Well, then it would
Probably not.
infer then.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay, well then, in which case, yeah, I'll do that. So 1 on each path and then 1 on the crack.
Okay, understood. And how far down the path do you want to put these things, or right at the doorway, the opening way into the...
It's a little ways in, because I'd rather not know right when they're right on us that they're here. I'd rather have a little bit of time.
Okay.
Now, it does let me click and cast it as a second level, like as a level thing, but the write-up itself doesn't actually say at higher levels.
Okay. And then, Zelen, any preparations you want to do?
The only thing I'm going to be doing is resetting spells to
For
make sure
tomorrow?
that I have good
Okay.
spells and regaining all my spell slots.
Boris, anything from you?
I was looking through my spells to see if I had any ongoing area of effect, and while I do have ongoing spells, they're mostly ongoing for me.
Okay.
Like, Sanctuary and Protection from Evil and Good, and those tend to be when something shows up.
Right.
So I think I will let Ranger alarm things, and I'll just take whichever watch I need to.
Understood.
Yeah, and we do all have those stones that have spells cast into them, but I think we all have Longstrider, and I think we just leave those, right?
Yeah, don't need to
Yeah.
use them yet.
Since we're going to sleep, I think just to get rid of all the rest of the spells I have for today, I'll cast Dark Vision on all of us in case anything does happen in the middle of the night. We don't have to worry about light.
All right, how long does that last?
8 hours.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's done. So all
Wow,
these things
that's
are
a
done.
good one.
You're
That's a
setting
good
up
spell.
camp. Jacob, you find a spot where there is
Yeah, if only somebody had it sooner.
Shut up.
a piece of interior wall that if you put a fire right there, it'd be fairly well banked. You don't think it would cast much. We have shadows outside to give your position away if you guys wanted to have a fire.
Okay.
All right, so as the evening's wearing on, people are relaxing. I always imagine Boris meditating or something like that. Jacob, you're pulling out whatever cartographer things you want to have.
I'd assume by
making
now I've
notes.
taught at least one of them Lasdun's fist, and I'm using Russo's set to whoop them with it.
That's right, yeah, playing that game.
I'm sharpening my my coal.
And Jacob, you're also aware in that time period that where you would expect that there's a certain amount of birds or that there's going to be tree frogs at night, there's sounds just indicative of the Brimroar Hills, that when it gets just past dusk, you're aware that there are no sounds of animal life, that you're not hearing tree frogs, nothing beyond just insects buzzing.
Violet ate them all.
I hate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so
So there's
you're wondering
either
about...
a major nighttime predator around here that has eaten most of them, or this is some kind of dead zone.
But does that feel similar to the last time we were in here? Because I think I remember it being oddly silent and
That's
quiet
right.
the last time
you're
we were
exactly right. It was just that way
Yeah, and
all
then
around.
we met Hama.
here. Who?
After the last time, under the
Oh.
bloodbendy lady.
Okay.
The-
But then We did notice though that like it was starting to come back. So does it at least feel like the slightest bit more lively? Like
We've
if I
got
really
bugs
focus-
now.
I did hear bugs.
You did.
Okay.
But to reconfirm that point, because that's exactly the point. As you were leading the group into what would have been part of the city, because you're well interior of where the city limits would have been, you were noting, oh yeah, there is some small animal life. Deer might even come in here, like one of the larger things. But then it's right here. It seems to be very located at this point. That even though there was more life coming back in, as though whatever evil nastiness has kept things away from a long time, here it still seems to be completely just devoid of things life-wise.
Well,
Wow.
that feels
Yucky.
Disturbing,
like
threatening, ominous.
reinforcing all the other bad juju stuff that we've been finding all day. So
Yeah, the temple didn't explode. It's not a good spot.
So if
Yeah.
I'm just meditated, everything's kind of quieting down, and
Right.
I just meditated. Could I roll a perception and see if I can get any better feel or more information about anything else that I could see?
She's doing
or-
waterbending gestures. It's
Yeah,
gotta
she
come
is.
from
It's,
something.
it's really it's very fluid.
I didn't hear a word she said. I was just like caught in a
Watching her
trance,
eyes, what they were doing.
like a snake dance, snake charmer.
If you want to roll a nature to pick up on something else, we'll just see what your roll is.
I like her interpretation of how each of these rolls works,
11.
though. Like, I'm going to use this spell to try and do this. Cool, that's not how it works. Yeah, but I'm going to try it.
and see what happens.
Yeah, I said-
no. Beyond what Jacob has already intoned, you don't feel anything more
Neener,
deeply than
neener.
that.
I could talk to the trees.
All right. So
Oh, yeah.
unless you guys have anything else, it will be morning. You've been taking watches the whole time
Well,
through.
hold on. We might be missing something there. Do any of these trees, could I pick out a tree that potentially could have been here since that explosion? And I could say, hey, Zelen, maybe this one would know something and you can go and speak with it?
There are definitely trees that are going up inside this space that could not have been here when this exploded.
Okay. Are there
okay,
ones
yeah,
that
that couldn't
would have
have
been here when it did explode?
No, it seems that
Okay.
all the trees came after that
The fun
explosion.
fact about trees, Mr. Ranger Man, they need more light and space and rain than
No,
what
I don't
being
mean
in a
I don't mean
building
in the
can-
thing. I mean like
Like
the
close by.
the
Around
close
it.
by around it. I could have had a better view potentially.
You would think
The
not.
one with a
Okay.
boulder on top of it.
Well, and the only thing it says you can question them for things that happened within the past day. So
Oh.
I'm not sure that they'd be able to tell me about.
Yeah, these
Ancient
bricks
history.
are a little less molten than
Any-
we
Right.
did
Any
anticipate.
burned circles on the ground anywhere? Tree.
We cast animate dead and then speak with animals.
Yeah,
And we
but-
start talking to the furniture.
Still an interesting idea, though.
Animals?
Not what
You said speak with animals to talk to the furniture.
did I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said speak with dead and speak with animals to talk to the furniture. What kind of furniture are you using?
Hide covered.
I was gonna say like bearskin rugs.
Ah, yes, your fathers, Gaston and Leatherface.
I know what I meant.
But if you want to, one day for talking to a tree that's even inside here,
Yeah.
it's just that it does indicate that, Jacob, with your looking around you did a little while ago, that there are trees that have grown up inside what was this temple to Ukko and grew old, died, fell over, and rotted. And they're
Oh.
long gone, just apart from, you can tell by the uproot and like the crash of stuff around it, that trees live their entire life inside this space since the whole thing blew up.
All right. I thought it was a really cool idea, but I guess the trees haven't been here long enough. And only a day. That
Yeah,
feels
that's
The
tough.
baby
a
trees.
lot less good now. Okay.
All right,
Right.
so then the next morning, because there was no encounter, nothing came through the space.
Oh, that's good.
Nothing triggered one of your alarms.
That's
I guess.
good.
Glad for no nighttime predators.
Right. And it is the next day you guys are choosing spells, getting your stuff together, and
Yep.
forming a plan.
Breaking camp, getting all our gear together because I definitely don't want to spend another night here.
Yeah. So one of the spells that I prepared was Dispel Magic.
Okay.
Do you want me to try Dispel Magic on the dome and see what it really is?
My bet is whatever transmutation thing is would be like opening up some kind of door or access, which we already have through the crack. So my thoughts either, one, let's take a better look through the crack to see if it like opens up onto a stairwell and we can just walk down, or arcana checks to try and figure out what the magic here is, so that we know we're dispelling, a cover rather than the prison of, the demon such and such. that
That's
we
a
kept
good
in this
idea.
box.
I'd like to check out, since we're going under this dome, I'd like to get as much information about this dome as we can. Can you make your magic hand come up and send it into the dome space and see what happens?
I can definitely do that.
Because if it's going to trigger something, let's make the hand trigger it.
Okay.
Right,
First,
so-
though,
Yes.
you're probably our best for Arcana. I don't think, I'm not sure if either of you are proficient in Arcana, but
That's a fantastic question.
no. I'm going to make a religion check to see if I can get a sense of the dome.
She rolled well.
21.
Yeah.
22?
Ooh.
Well
We're
done.
also making different rolls.
Yeah.
I've been Jacobed.
So as the
I'm on board with the switch. I like the switch.
No, she's saying that she's one lower, so she's Jacob.
No. She got Jacob. You rolled one higher than her because I've been doing it more recently.
Jacob.
and the debate goes on. So here's what you. So I guess Jacob, we'll assume that you're either keeping watch or you're looking over the wall to see. Gosh, yeah, there's no living things here.
Guys, that's a dragon. Shut up! I'm doing book stuff.
But still within your visual acuity outside, you do see signs of small living things out there.
Okay.
It does seem as though this is a very unique place, maybe even the center of where things or why things would not come into the city for a long time.
Gotcha.
So at the same time, with those rolls that both Zelen and Boris made, you're picking up on actually localizations of this magic with your Arcana checks, and they're in particular patterns. Roll straight intelligence, or I should say modified intelligence. Use your intelligence modifier on that 20 die roll, and let me know what you make. Wow, she rolled just way well again.
10.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking to you, obviously.
Another 21.
So though you can't see it, Zelen, you pick up on
I'm not the wizard.
that the pattern of little, call it like droplets of magic that's coming through on this side of the dome, you're suspecting it'd be stronger on the inside of the dome, lines up almost correctly, but not exactly right, to a constellation that you've known all of your life that was the constellation of the Chariot. And you're just aware that the patterns are very similar, a little off, but very similar. But it just seems strange that the magic is that way.
So what do you know mythologically about the constellation of the Chariot? Anything?
I know.
You know you can make a religion check.
I know I can make a religion check.
Oh, wait, hold on. This sounds like something that I could do.
14.
Should I make a religion check?
I don't even see religion on there. It is.
I'm not
You
very
certainly could,
religion-y.
yeah.
6.
But the DC was just a 10.
As I say, I use
okay.
I use stars for hunting, not religious purposes. Could I make a survival?
Well, you would know that when they're talking about the Chariot, you're thinking about, okay, so we're talking about a late summer, early fall constellation. It's definitely seen. The religious context, Boris, would be that the Chariot was Lasdun's vehicle that he took across the sky when he'd battle his foes. Now, beyond that, there isn't a lot of great connection to it
Right,
because
yeah.
it's just not that kind of a religion.
Yeah.
But
But it could indicate that this space is.
We're tree worshippers, dang it, not
Yeah.
star worshippers.
That's
What are
right.
we, elves?
It could be that this
Not
space
those
is
kind of
some
elves.
kind of transportation. If this is designed specifically to outline to align with the Chariot.
Which one of you looked in the crack?
He did.
Jacob.
What did you
Me.
see when you looked into the crack?
Darkness.
There was a big space going down.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was before I cast dark vision. so
But there's no sign of the crack on this side as we look because he saw it from the exterior. Does the floor seem damaged on this side too?
No, the floor seems fine, but the crack is wide enough that a person could go through it.
No, but you can't see it. We're standing inside the ruined room looking inside the dome. He saw the crack from the outside, right?
No, he saw it from where you are too.
Oh, I
He
didn't
just
realize
walked on
that.
the other side of it. Yeah.
Got it. I didn't realize that.
I'm going to conjure a mage hand
Okay.
and put light in its palm and then send it into the crack so I can see, one, if anything tries to eat it, and two, so I can actually see in this space.
It looks like a star floating in there. It's just so
Right,
void around
yeah.
it that there is nothing else for the light to reflect on. That once it gets past the
Oh,
crack into
wow.
the dome, it's big enough across. The dome isn't as though it's just like 5 feet wide or 12 feet wide. The dome itself is over 75 feet wide from the one side to the other side.
Wow.
The thing is
Is
huge.
anyone else terrified by the implication that Matt sees fingers curling around the stars all the time? Because I find that deeply disturbing. Not quite as disturbing as this huge pit, but
So the hand goes out into the middle of the space. You're just directing it outward. If it
Yep.
goes to the right or left too much, you're going to lose
Right.
the center of it. You'll see the rays coming off of it. But it's not touching floor, ceiling. There's nothing reflected on. It must go, like Jacob said,
down.
pretty far down. Yeah.
Looking any way to move through this. Aside from the obvious gravitational way.
So like if you draw the light back closer to yourself, you bring the hand over this way, and you're looking down, that you can see pretty much aligning with the base of the dome, a wall that's cylinder-like. You would assume, you can't see that far around, is going just sheer and down. That going down looks like it's going to be a magical fly something or repelling using rope. But there's no staircase or ladder here.
Is there a maximum to the amount of fall damage you can take, or does it really just compound infinitely?
So you're just going to have him jump?
D6 per...
Yell as you
D6
jump
per
so we
10
know
feet.
when you hit the ground.
Ah, fair.
A maximum of 20d6 with 200 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a small chance I could survive that.
Let's see. Let me look at average numbers. Give me just a second.
I'm just curious. I'm not actually going to go leaping into the pit, but it's the first chance we've had to go
I
in
wonder
the pit.
if I
in the
can.
pit.
I have a rope trip. I wonder if it always goes.
I think it's a maximum of 60 feet. It always
But I
goes
wonder
up.
if it always goes
It
up. You
does.
can't go down.
But we have rope, and we
You
could also just rappel.
drop a rock
Okay,
and just
so
count.
if he rolls average damage, I should be able to live.
Oh my gosh. So
I
okay.
think average damage is almost exactly 70, isn't it?
Average damage is exactly 70.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is all of my hit points.
Wow.
So let's see how long it is. Do
Yeah,
who has
I'll
a
take-
length of rope? You could tie a
I
length.
mean,
you could-
light for you is just a cantrip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll grab a small rock, have you cast light on it just so we can see it too, and then I'll just step over close to the crack and then throw it in there and just count and wait.
And it goes down, and when it hits and hits, and you can see the light down there, you would figure by both the amount of time it took and then just looking at it down there, that from the base of the dome, you think it's about 100 feet.
Okay.
Ooh.
So heck, 35 points of damage.
Well, no. The max with that
It's a D6 per
10. Yeah.
10, so that would actually be 100 D6, but it maxes
No,
at 20.
that'd be it's 10d6
Oh.
because it's per 10 feet, not per foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeet.
No. I can drop 100 feet and hurt, but live.
Wow. Yeah.
I want to do a superhero landing.
Suddenly your femurs are coming out through your shoulders.
Yeah,
It's like,
right?
My shoulder
oh.
pads.
So
I've
before
completely
we jump,
inverted my structure, but I'm still alive.
so we have to go down there.
As I'm looking down there, though, like I'll listen to her talking, but I'm just gonna watch that
So we
light to
just
see if
pushed him?
anything comes up to that light as
Oh,
as it's
that's a
sitting
good
down there.
idea.
All right,
Yeah.
so we'll get to that in just a
Observe.
moment. Other thoughts or ideas about getting down there?
Yeah. So I can cast spider climb.
All right.
So I can get down there. What do you have anything that would help you climb down there?
Gravity. Aside from that,
If Boris jumps in and he's holding me,
I mean, I have cure wounds, so I can heal myself when I get to the bottom. Summon bestial spirit, but I don't think I can summon anything that flies yet. I'm not
you
high
kind of
enough level.
clutch and cast it on the way down before you hit.
Yeah.
Or you know what?
Does my
Are
hammer
there-
also produce a
How
better
are the
fall effect?
sides of this? Are there vines and stuff? Is it
No,
clear
it looks,
sides?
It looks fairly sheer and no
Rock?
vines on the
Is it
inside.
rock?
It's rock. It
It's
is.
rock. Okay. All right. So this is.
I've got 50 feet of rope. Any of you guys have any rope?
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Yeah,
rope.
I'm positive I have rope. What good hunter doesn't have rope? What do I use to make all those traps that I set so frequently?
So you now have 10-foot pieces of rope because you've always been cutting them to do this or do that, right?
Well,
So Jacob
there it
has
is,
a
yeah.
knotted rope.
Just a bunch of mending spells.
oh wait, I have two. So I have one 50-foot length and probably another one that's cut up into bits for traps.
Yeah, so you'd have enough. You probably need more, though, to rope off to something out here.
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest would be to get a big log and put that right across the crack in the dome and put the rope around
Yeah,
that.
that's. I
That
was
way you're
thinking about
not-
the iron pot. I have an iron pot. That
Okay.
that we
Hold on,
could
you
put
brought this up
that-
like 3 other times before.
We could put that across the crack because
How
but
big
I don't
is
know
this
how.
iron pot?
I don't know.
Stop trying to make the iron pot happen. It is never.
I'm
it is never going to
carrying
happen.
the dang thing. I want to do
I'm
something
trying to
with it.
picture
You cook
fan art.
breakfast with it. Leave it with that.
This is true. Okay, so I want to know. 50 feet rope is expensive in 5e because like 50 feet of rope is a whole gold piece. That's a lot of money.
I have
Yeah,
50
you
feet
would
of rope.
be
too.
a different skill set. to put
that
together.
that is also part of the weirdness that standard 5e is a gold standard and we lot are on a silver
on this
standard.
game. It's a silver
Yeah,
standard.
that's just. But still, I mean, that's 10 silver pieces. That still sounds like a lot of money for
in that. Yeah,
for
So,
50 feet of rope.
but
Okay.
Okay, then I'll just push you.
I'm not saying I'm not going to tie it off. I'm just commenting on why is this rope
This
so
rope is too nice to
expensive?
use. I don't want to damage it.
You're right.
You probably purchased that rope for a silver or two,
Okay,
depending on where you are.
there you go. All right. Yeah. We have plenty of
yeah.
rope. We don't have like feather fall or anything that would just make it easier or nicer. So may as well just tie it off and
Feather fall doesn't help you to go back up.
fair.
So I'm wondering if I could change my staff into a tree, if I held my staff down, if I changed my staff into a tree, if we could then just climb
Yeah, but then
down
you
the
wouldn't have your
tree?
staff down there.
I would, because I'm saying hang my staff down into
I don't
the
think
hole.
you could grow the tree upside down. I think the tree would grow like a tree.
I know, but if I'm holding the top of it and I'm hanging my staff down into the hole, change it into a tree, the top of the tree would be at the top of the hole.
How tall is the tree? Is it a 100-foot tree?
I don't know. I'm trying to find the thing.
Yeah,
that
I think
says-
it's a 50 or 60-foot tree and a 100-foot hole. And even then, it'd go up. It'd probably then just immediately fall.
Oh,
That'd be great.
even if I was holding the top of the staff, you think it would still grow
Yes.
out of the top of
I'd
the
say,
staff?
I was going to say, because even if it turns like you're holding the top of the tree, you're holding an entire tree by like the very top leaf. I don't think you'd hold on to it for very long.
Yeah, but it would really
Still-
shorten the distance that we'd have to climb. We'd
Yeah,
just drop
but
into the
it's-
top of the tree and then climb down.
Yeah, but then you don't have your staff.
No, my staff would be in the hole.
Yes, but you're turning it back and leaving it
But there's
for
probably
us to climb
there's
out.
probably easier ways to do this.
Yeah,
so.
like
Oh, that's true, yeah.
tying our ropes together and getting a log to brace against the crack, or just jumping and taking another long rest.
Yeah. Has anything happened to the rock that I've been watching, the
meanwhile,
light down at the bottom?
rock.
no, nothing has moved down below.
All right, cool. Let's tie off some ropes and just rappel.
So even like what I had mentioned and what Boris just reiterated about a log to tie the rope to that'll breach that crack, there's actually stone in here that would be very heavy, but could also be maneuvered the same way if you didn't want to go outside and look for some
Yeah,
tree branch somewhere.
whatever's fastest and is going to be able to hold up the weight of a Boris.
It is sturdiest, and then what's fastest?
All right, so with two of you at least, or maybe all three of you, you move a stone into position. You have it propped up by some stuff, debris, rocks on either side, so you can pass a rope under it, and it is just at where the crack is in the dome to rope off to. All right, so we don't need rope use in this version.
It doesn't exist
so
in this version.
you guys tie off, no problem. You toss the rope down,
And
you're-
Yeah, what I've done in
Did you
previous
have
games is
one
like
as
dexterity
well?
checks if you're trying to tie a good knot,
yeah,
or
I have
athletic
another
checks if
rep.
you're just trying
Yeah.
to secure it in place.
Okay, that's good. So you're doing the tying off, Jacob?
I'll do that.
Go ahead and roll it.
Yeah, so we've got 3 we're tying together, assuming we can't just mend them together.
Now, here's a
Like
question.
fray one end, fray the other, interweave it a bit, and go, bing, you're one rope now.
Is that something
I
that
don't
anyone
have
could assist me
Bing,
with,
your
or
one
like
rep
give the
now.
help action, or just because for mine would be just a flat 10?
Didn't one of us have mending? I know I don't, but I thought
Could you
one
mend the two ends of the rope together instead of tying a knot?
that's
I
what he's
literally
saying, yeah.
just asked that.
Well, I was talking to the DM.
I might have it, but I don't have it prepared.
I think it's a cantrip.
I would,
Oh, I
to
don't-
answer your question, Jacob, I'd say yes. That a person could say, oh, no, hey, turn that way. Put the loop through right here. Yeah, now pull that tight.
Okay, I'll try it again.
The exact same thing. So Jacob has tied the rope, and he did it like just the way that is.
What's our modifier for this?
I did dex.
'Kay.
If you're trying to tie a good
To
knot, or
finesse
strength
it.
if you're just trying to just secure it.
Okay. Dex, the worst of the two for me, 21.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 5 both times.
All right, so then
Congratulations.
once Jacob finishes tying the rope, he steps back out to make one last check of the perimeter that nothing is out there and coming around. And in that time, Boris pulls the rope back up and reties it.
Yeah, a
And
21
then
and
lowers it down.
a 21 and a 16.
Yeah,
for
because
the
those
two
knots were-
rope, the two
we're gonna
knots I'm tying together.
Pull loose at a 10.
Doesn't even tell me.
All right, so who's going to be the first person down the rope?
I say
Heaviest.
Boris, yeah, he's the heaviest.
I don't disagree.
You don't even
All right.
know how much your gear weighs.
I do. I calculated it before, but I've forgotten the number.
All right, so climbing with rope, do your be an athletics check.
Are you
for that,
gonna-
is it?
It isn't a check unless there's something insane
Oh,
happening
we've had
to
that.
me.
We've had that talk
Several
before.
times.
Yes.
Are you going to cast light before you go down so
Yeah,
you have light?
There's 2 lights in there.
Well,
How long do the cantrips last?
each one, they last a minute. And 2, whenever I make a new one, the old one goes out.
I see. So
Because this edition sucks.
so that
Stop saying that.
that light is out.
Stop being correct with it.
All right. So you are casting a new light. What on the top of your helmet or something?
Yeah.
All right.
And then climbing down.
All right. So
They can figure out their own light sources.
yes, there's nothing else crazy. The rope doesn't jounce or buck at all because it's tied very stably and to that stone. And you are just walking the wall down as you're holding onto the rope, and you guys watch him descend. He goes the whole way down, and then
well, when he's 3/4 of the way down, unless I think it's going to be too hard to have 2 people on the rope, I'll start down. So he's not down there by himself.
all right.
Would you think it'd be too hard to have 2 people on the rope?
I think I weigh, with gear, 345 pounds.
Oh, never mind. I'll wait till he's off the rope.
Okay, so once he's off
Safe.
the rope and clear, and the rope's slack,
Yeah, shield pushed up, I guess, onto my back or near me, however that works.
We can hold it and drop
I
it down
can
to you when you're ready for it.
Steady the rope and still have weapon in hand.
Okay, so it'd be even an easier climb coming down because he's steadying the other end of the rope. And you down climb. Again, there's no issue to it. There's no roll that's necessary. And it's just you're very thoughtful, methodical down the rope.
With his light, can I see? Because otherwise I'll cast dark
No,
vision.
it's about 100 feet away. You'll less 6 feet.
You
when
can see
first go
the
down.
light, but you can't really...
94.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, once I'm down beside him, do I need to cast dark vision, or can I see because he's shedding enough
I think
light?
my light is a 30-foot radius of... it's a 20-foot radius of bright light and then a 20-foot radius of dim light.
And very likely, you probably had to recast that camp
A couple of times.
a couple times going
Oh,
down.
my bad. It wasn't a minute. It's an hour.
Oh, never mind.
Even better.
So yes, the light is running on top of his helmet. You can see within that range down
Okay.
there.
Is that concentration, or can you have a bunch of those going?
I can have one of those going. It is
Aw.
not concentration.
Okay.
I'm going to then hold on any casting any
Okay,
kind of light
and
or
then
anything.
Jacob, you're coming down.
I do.
And again, they're holding the rope. There's no issue to it. You can climb down.
But knowing that we might need this rope later, I'll go ahead and untie it as I'm coming down, just so we don't forget it.
And then you jump into the middle of the weak section so that you've got a lower DC to jump to the far side.
Exactly. See, you understand. Yeah.
But he runs at high speed and runs in a circular pattern around the inside of the room and just works down as he goes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, long strider. See, we just like put G-forces on the outside of the cylindrical section
we
until we get
go.
out.
Right, you're all down on the inside. And the debris that was what formed the crack in the dome above is laying right where you guys came down. There's a jumble of broken pieces that fell down. So whatever explosion happened must have kicked maybe the weakest part of this stone out, or where the stone was formed. Who knows exactly? But that's down here.
Crease.
And apart from that, you're not seeing a lot of other stuff like pews or something. But, and we'll take this moment, I'll drive this just a bit, that when your spell, like, not winks out, when you tip your head back and you're looking around, but when the way the light is shining goes differently, both Zelen and Jacob pick up on that there is light over our head, but I'm not getting a good read on it because of the light coming from your helmet.
There's
plunge
light
us into
over our
darkness.
head, not
Yeah.
where the crack
I
is.
dismiss-
It's just not the light that's coming from the crack that we just descended. You mean like this the ceiling above us
Right.
shows
Dare I
light?
say, like constellations up above?
Oh,
So what do you do with the light on your
or
head?
eyes.
Do you do something with the light on that's on your
Okay, that was a terrifying way of putting that. No, I do not turn off the light on my head.
Maybe just cover it up with your hands. That way we can
turn
get
off
back.
the light on my head because
All
it's
right.
just an action to put back.
Right. So when
That was you that did that. Don't at me. That was your fault. I was like, oh, it's constellations on the inside, starlight, soft and gentle, and you're like, or it's staring at us.
Waiting for the light to blink out so he can eat us.
Nothing's eaten me yet, therefore I can't be eaten.
Something, weeping angels.
about to say, so we're going to shift game into different characters and play Zelen's idea on this one. As your eyes adjust and you start picking it out, the first thing you probably look for is that chariot because you saw that shape, and then you do pick it out. But it's as though everything comes out at once as your eyes adjust, that you are right, Boris, that you are seeing what looks like constellations you recognize almost. It's like they are your known constellation. The warrior, the dragon, the crossbow, the griffin, all these things you're used to seeing, but they're all slightly like either elongated, a little more squat. They're shifted from what you would expect them to be.
Distorted by 10,000 years of celestial
yeah,
drift.
would we know that? I mean, would we
No,
have
but
the education
I
to
know that.
know that it's because this is probably so ancient? Could we roll like an arcana or something to be able to know that?
I bet that's a proficient in arcana thing. Like we've been educated in that.
Okay, so we recognize them, although they're slightly skewed, and we wouldn't know why they're slightly skewed.
They're just
Now,
really bad at this.
I want to bring up your, if you recall, your arcana rolls from before. I don't want to re-roll it, but you did
It was
arcana
21.
checks. Yeah, so give
and
me
I
those.
had 22 on a religion.
Okay, and what was yours, Jacob?
I rolled it off the table. I didn't actually roll one, but
Unnatural.
I'll take
20.
that.
All right.
22.
So as the three
You
of you are
Zelen'd
looking,
me.
as the three of you are looking up, and you're coming to this
Zelen
realization that you start picking out more, and you're probably saying things like, "Oh, look, there's the child again. There's the fish and the stair, the tree, the hammer, the one who turns, the cloud." You're seeing all these things that are constellations you know, but with those arcana checks that everyone made just so adeptly, You believe that this isn't just magical light in the same place as where that star should be. Somebody cast that and it's still running. That you actually believe this is the starlight from those stars that's coming through somehow at those points.
Oh, that's
That
weird.
Wild.
It is actually nighttime starlight that's coming through
My
here.
Did
brain
we
went
just
right
pass-
to the Silmarils.
Did we just pass through something? I mean, are we in a different space? How do we know that?
Roll your
How would we know?
survival, Jacob.
Does that feel like the transmutation? Ooh, we're no longer in forest or mountains, are we? I'm
You are
assuming.
not.
Yeah, 28.
Looking back up through that crack, you're seeing the canopy as you would expect to see it. The air has the same quality as the air that is on the other side of it. Those tell tales to you saying, this is still the same place.
Okay, so we
didn't
didn't
through
go,
a
like, extra
magical
dimensional or
portal
something.
but there's something definitely in the dome.
Is
that's
this
very different.
maybe that's the transmutation magic?
So is it striking anybody else as really weird that you would have a space like this?
No, this
built-
feels perfectly normal to me in every
built
single way.
below what was a church to Ukko? I mean, this seems really weird. Why would you have a subterranean
Does the
worship?
stone,
Is there anything on the walls?
does
or-
the stonework here look any older than the temple itself?
That would be a
Siegecraft?
siegecraft.
and
yeah,
it-
I'm
and
gonna move over to a wall and make that check.
Now, also, what I'm wondering is, does it look like this used to be an area that has been like magically removed
I
and was
wanna-
like shunted over into Carn Keldley? Like there was a
17.
room here.
Yeah, that'd be more difficult to tell. What'd you say, Borg?
17 on the siegecraft.
That the stonework in here looks older than a lot of the stuff you guys have seen that would have been
Okay.
like Kremlin, but
I'm comparing not just like in general, because it might be a very old Kremlin building. I'm comparing to the temple itself.
it does look older than the temple. The
Okay.
stonework looks older than
Is
the
there
temple.
anything else that I see in the room? Is does this look like a space that had been used? Are there anything that it would indicate worship or ritual down here? Anything on the walls, the floor?
On the floor, as you are looking around, there are some unusual things.
Near the light source.
Go ahead and roll. There'll be perceptions, I would think. Go ahead and roll perceptions to see what you can figure from it.
Ooh.
24.
12.
7.
Okay, so as you're looking and not picking up much, Jacob, you're looking as well, and you'd say it looks like there
Have
was
you guys
mach-
cast dark vision or anything, or are you just kind of sticking in my vicinity?
Yeah,
as
we're
I
just
go
sticking
over
in
to
your
a wall?
vicinity right now.
Oh, I
I
thought you said you did cast it.
that was
before you-
last night
night?
before bed.
Oh, okay, right.
Well, if you cast it before
That's
bed,
'cause
can you cast it again?
I
It
can.
lasts for
Yeah, I
8
have my
hours.
spells back. I'll go ahead and. Who wants dark vision? I'll cast one
Yeah,
myself.
cast it on
Everybody
me
raises
because
their
then I
hand.
can.
Well,
Me.
technicalities. Our visual acuity is better with the light source, because the way dark vision works in this edition commentary, you're treating darkness as dim light, so you have disadvantage on perception checks, and then dim light as bright light.
So do we want to cast it on ourselves or we want to wait?
Effectively, what that would be giving is a 40-foot radius around me that you can see clearly, and then a 60-foot radius around each of you where you can see kind of clearly.
You know what? I'll cast produce flame. That gives a bright light 10 feet around me and another 10 feet. So I'll cast produce flame so that way if
We
I
have
get outside of your
2 light
circle, I
sources.
have like a flashlight. Go.
Okay, that works.
All right, so again with that check then, what you've picked up on, Jacob, is that you believe that there was some kind of large pieces of furniture or apparatus, maybe even pews and an altar, but there was something that was here, like multiple pieces of things that were somehow removed, as though like somebody went through an old warehouse and took out all the old machinery was there to mill something, or you went into, I know this was some kind of a lab and all the lab equipment's gone, that somebody came through here a long time ago and just took a bunch of stuff out.
Does this place seem cursed to you, Boris?
Is it desecrated?
It is not desecrated.
Is it consecrated?
It is not consecrated.
Are there undead fiends or celestials within 60 feet of me?
60 feet. No.
I don't like how you worded that.
I didn't do that very well.
All right. So is there an opening coming into this space, or is this space completely contained?
Well, let's just circle around the walls until we find something.
You do find that there is a made doorway that is leading to, or rather is terminating on a ramp that goes down.
Wow.
Even deeper.
Yeah. Great.
I mean, how far down the stairwell can we see?
There's no stairs. It's just a
Oh.
ramp.
Let's do a complete circuit so we know whether or not this is the only way in
that's a great
or out.
idea. Yeah.
And then from there, either pursuing potential other avenues or yes.
All right. So then as you continue around, you get to a certain point where as you're looking back, you can tell where the light's shining in from above through the crack. But as you complete the circuit, you find yourself back around to where the stone from the ceiling of this dome had collapsed a long time ago. And then you complete the circuit around to the doorway, and there's no other features on the walls.
Huh.
Okay,
Weird.
so it's just this
Yeah,
ramp.
it's just the one ramp.
So if we're at the top of the ramp, can we smell anything or hear anything?
Roll perception.
And and then as you can do light as many times as you want. So do we want
Right.
to take another small rock and throw it in there again just to take a look down the ramp?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
26.
14.
24.
Okay, yeah. So you do smell like old air, dust. It has that not been walked in smell to it, and there's no moisture to it in the way that it smells, but it smells as though there used to be, like almost like a dried pond down from below there.
Huh.
You toss that stone down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll light a stone and then toss it down.
All right. Well, it is a steep enough incline that it just keeps tumbling down. It just doesn't go in a little bit. It keeps going down and down and down. Now, the door is about 10 feet wide. It's about 12 feet high, arched, and it just keeps tumbling and rolling down to where it actually looks like it rolls and doesn't like clink into something as it's bouncing the whole way down. It looks like it went through a door about 70, 80 feet away down this ramp and then rolled out of your sight because it went through the doorway.
Okay, so we can see like kind of cast rays of light, but not the actual stone itself.
Right.
As it was rolling, could we tell if this was just a ramp with a sheer drop off on the one side, or is it a hallway that has walls on either side?
It's like a tunnelway,
It's
hallway.
like a tunnel.
Yeah.
And in looking at the ground as it rolled, is it making marks? And are there any other marks on the ground?
It's not making marks, and you couldn't pick out a pattern. If there's something like a
Like
complicated
a
mosaic.
swishy tail, or
yeah, you
no?
wouldn't-
I mean like tracks, like
Oh.
something has been walking up and down this ramp, moving along this ramp.
Considering how unusual it'll be, Jacob, if you want to roll a survival at disadvantage, go ahead and give it a try if you can pick out a
But
pattern.
can I give him an advantage because I'm looking too?
Do you have
Do you,
proficiency?
if you have proficiency
I
in
do
survival?
have proficiency in survival.
Wow,
that means I
okay.
have big pluses, right? And it has a little black
You
dot.
have to have
by
the
it.
plus two
The little-
or
the
three
little-
for your level.
The little black
The
dot.
little black dot.
Yeah, I have it.
yeah.
Okay,
All right,
yeah.
So
So
I'll
you're
roll
back,
just straight
back
up.
to a straight up roll, yeah.
22.
You are positive. Like, no, there isn't. It's just stone going down in.
Does it seem like something that we could feasibly walk up and down, or is it something like we sit down and we're kind of
Slide on our
sliding?
butt.
Yeah, is
Hey,
it-
let's ride your shield.
Is it a ramp or a chute?
It is a ramp.
There's not enough room on my shield for me, much less all of us.
It would
And
not.
though I may be the parent of you fools, I'm not dragging you back up on my shield.
Jacob, you're sure that it's for walking down, that it wouldn't be just like to tumble things down. It's not that same like, like a 5 to 7% grade that would be, easy for going up a hill or a mountain, but nor is it that 13 to 15% that'd be really tough to go up. It's somewhere in between those.
And what about the walls and the ceiling? Are they sheer rock? What do they look
Are
like?
they more natural? I'll put a new light on my helmet so we can see better up here.
It is quite clear this was finished stone. It wasn't just
Finished
chiseled
stone.
out and left rough, that it's been worn down, worked down, and then probably polished down. That right at around like an average person's shoulder height, it is very polished in here. And then above shoulder height, it looks like it's a little more rough, though still cleanly and smoothly worked, as though there were people that, must have been like 4 or 5 people wide, shoulder to shoulder, pressing down through here, or a great throng used to move through here. And over time, it actually polished the walls.
What is this?
I don't know. This is really weird, but I don't think we have a choice but to go down.
All right, so order.
Unless there's any luck of finding the leaves at this level.
Boris, the other two.
There used to be a lot of stuff on this level before you descend.
Actually, how wide is it? Like 10 feet?
About 10 feet wide. Yeah.
Okay. Boris in center, the two of them 5 feet back on either flank.
Okay, you guys will go with that?
Yeah.
And I'll keep a lookout ahead, making perception checks for traps.
And
or
I still
anything
have
that would-
produce flame up too.
And light on my head.
All right, so then all these things are happening and working. And the way you're going down, I could imagine, Zelen, you take one last look back and you do see that little splinter of gray light coming down through the crack in the dome. It seems so much more inviting than what it did a little while ago. and now you're descending to this new level. It only takes you minutes, and when you get down to, call it the base of this ramp, this tunnel-like ramp, it's a landing, and then the landing itself is going into a room. But the room, like the entranceway, is not just in the opposite wall to where the ramp comes down, because it's the corner where your ramp would actually turn a corner and go down at the same angle as though it's in a squared tower. Now,
Okay.
it's still a tunnel. It isn't open to the one side. But if you were to come up the ramp that you're seeing continuing down, it would lead right to a doorway too. So in that corner, it's as though there's doorways in both of those directions, but they're both opening up into the same space.
Okay.
And that's where that little rock
Lit
is that has
rock.
Right.
the
Yeah.
wall.
Okay.
So the lit rock is in that room.
Yes.
Well, there's no longer a lit rock if you redid your light at
Yeah.
the top.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh.
where it would be.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So
Let's take a look. See what
so
those
it's
rooms are.
okay. So
Or
just so
room,
to make sure
rather.
that I understand, it's like the two ramps are meeting at 90 degrees, but that corner where they meet is actually open because it opens into a room.
Right. Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it. Okay.
That you
Okay.
can press
see
into
that.
it straightway going up or down.
Perception,
so we're at
sounds or seeing things.
Okay, yeah, so perceptions first.
21.
All right, first, the smell of kind of like I don't know, old leather and
12.
dust is stronger right here,
Old
Jacob.
leather.
And as you step into it, with the light that's on Boris's his helmet right now, that you can tell that there are niches, many of them, and it looks like there are bodies in these niches.
Am I
Gross.
detecting undead? I'll use another use of that.
You do not.
Okay. So there's niches on all the walls.
All the walls.
All
they
the walls.
run.
I'll cross the threshold into the room.
Okay, okay, you're into the room now. Yes, that all around, except where the doorways are, the open areas, that this room is about 30 feet by 30 feet, more or less, and there are niches that run floor to ceiling with just a thin line of stone between each one, so it looks like stacked bodies inside here, and it's very.
But they're standing. They're not
No,
slid
no.
into
They're-
holes.
They are laying down.
They're laying down
They're
and
like-
slid into.
Exactly.
Got it.
So
So and wait a minute. So if I'm looking at a wall, I would see like 6 sets of dead feet.
no, you would see them on the side, like the profile. You're seeing toe to head on one side.
Oh, I get it.
So there's
so rather than like the morgue where they're like
3
slid in that way, they're actually like placed on a shelf.
Exactly.
Got it.
horizontal. Okay.
how many tall?
Hi.
That there are 8 of them from floor to ceiling.
Whoa.
8 of them, and
How many total in the room?
You do a quick check and you'd say that there's 75, 90.
are there any missing? Or is every slot filled?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Actually, there are, and you kind of do a quick check right near the door to the right-hand side, that there is a stack and about a half that are empty.
Now, does it seem like whatever was there got up and walked away, or that they just hadn't been filled because maybe the lineage hadn't died yet?
Yeah, do a new survival check, Jacob.
Can I do perceptions looking at the room
17.
generally?
Yeah, go ahead, Boris. With that 17, it looks as though, apart from whatever kind of like thin dirt layers in here, which honestly isn't much when there's not living people in a place, that there was never stuff in here and taken back out. That there's no, detritus indicative of a body was here, then yanked back out
Okay.
or got up and walked away. It looks as though they had never actually been used.
Okay.
They're just waiting for an occupant.
And there's nothing super obvious like placards that are next to it that tell us like who these people are or were,
Or
that like-
more typical to their culture, busts?
oh yeah,
Right.
Like in the tomb?
Right. Yeah.
So there's nothing quite so obvious as a bust with each one of these. That this seems to be maybe a different group or a different time period.
And do they have jewels on them? Do they have the remnants of robes,
goods.
or are they like mummies? They're just like wrapped up in bandages.
The ones you're looking at right now look as though they had actually been maybe even prepared for a battle. Whether it's part of their own culture that they go into the next life ready to fight, or they were a warrior culture when they died. But it looks a little bit like old leather with pieces of chain, some other kinds of metal work, reinforced parts to it. That they look like a bunch of warriors in here.
And
They're all
that's
laid out.
consistent as you go around the wall, or does it change? Because I'm wondering if this is kind of time, like the bottom one closest to the door was the first, and then as we work back around to the empty ones, those would have been the most recent.
It looks
I think
as,
that holds, but
Yeah.
Who knows how long?
It actually looks like pretty consistent. You're moving around the room. You probably have to produce your flame so you can see better.
Yeah.
If Boris is in a different spot. That they all seem to have a warrior culture. But Jacob, you had asked something a moment ago too, and I forget what it was. Or you'd rolled for something. Checking the perception. You were asking.
I rolled a perception. He rolled survival.
You asked for another survival, something to do with the busts
to
or
see
some
the
way
tombs,
of knowing.
That was for the survival check was to see if you could note anything, almost more of a tracking something. And that was that nothing else had occupied those tombs.
Is there anything on the ceiling?
No, very, very like kind of flat gray ceiling.
Is
kind
there
of austere.
Is there any? Are there any additional openings or anything in the center of the floor here?
There is not. But going back to those checks somebody made a moment ago, what was your Zelen when you were doing a perception check or it was
survival?
A perception check you had made.
Oh, the very first.
Right.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Do you want to do just new perception
Yeah,
checks
just
for
do
all
new
of us moving
perception
around and
checks.
looking?
Yeah.
Nice.
15.
17.
17.
Okay, very nice. That you all note that you're saying, hey, I'm seeing this kind of again and again, that like above each one of these, there is almost like a brush stroke, very curved looking image. And at first I thought it was just like a pattern in the stone, but you're seeing it more and more, that there seems to be one of these kind of brush stroke looking symbols right above each one of these niches.
Do they match the stuff that we saw in that tower over there? Like
Are there
the
from the
symbols,
rubbing we
the
took?
hieroglyphs?
So we'll
they
see. You take a
magic?
couple of minutes to look at that and just compare it. You don't see anything quite like that here. This seems either a different language, a different set of symbols.
Echoing what Boris says to Zelen, are they magic in any way? Or,
Yeah, I'm going to detect magic.
And I'll roll an Arcana just to see if I recognize them as magical scripts.
I'll do a religion. Just
Okay,
to
go
try
ahead.
and recognize it.
7.
That
12.
there does seem to be like a latent magic here, but it doesn't make quite sense what it is. That that it's not like it's a beaconing. It's not an ongoing spell.
Is it weaker or stronger? Any places I move around the room?
No, it's barely registering for all of them.
All right, the last time we found latent magic, it was woken up by Argolian steel. Do we want to start tapping our things on things and see what happens?
I don't think we want to wake up a bunch of warriors.
Well, what I'm betting is that this is less like, zombies, and more if you try and like rob them, you'll get blown up.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, that this is
Like more like a protection.
right. Yeah.
And I forget, what do you see you're rolling for, Jacob?
I was just rolling Arcana to see if anything about those symbols felt magical in some capacity.
Or look familiar.
And you had rolled a
7.
Okay, yeah. So
I had a 12
and
on a religion check to try and recognize
Can I
them.
roll
yeah,
Arcana
so
and look at the
neither
symbols?
of those. Yeah, sure.
You're probably the most equipped to do so.
I rolled a 1.
Well, it's still probably better than mine. What's your plus?
4.
Oh, I rolled better. Look at me.
All right, so unknown symbol.
Yeah, I'm betting because symbol is a spell.
I'm going to step out and look on either side of the doorway, above the doorway and the doorway here, because we've seen a lot of times that things are above the doorway. Do I see that symbol any place out in the adjoining of these ramps, or do I see that?
You do not.
Okay, so it's only in here and above. All right.
Well, I mean, while we're spending time here, I'll go ahead and go around and just start making quick sketches of the different symbols I'm seeing just for reference later.
Okay. It's the same symbol.
Same one.
Now
yeah.
it's not like etched in stone. So they're slightly different, but you can tell it's the same symbol.
Okay, so it's
almost
not like
by a
it's not
different
like some
hand.
sort of a category where like these 8 bodies are like denoted by this
No.
symbol. Okay.
Is the symbol above the empty ones?
It is not.
Okay,
Oh.
so it's only above. So I
Okay.
wonder if it is. Do we want to?
It doesn't feel runic in nature like this magical
we wanna
symbol
touch
is
one?
the thing that is the
No.
magic.
That's
That's
a
bad. Sit.
that's a reasonable assumption, Jacob.
I'm
that it
always
is
the one
something
that's
that.
like, let's poke it.
Yeah, I am part of a proud tradition of poking things with sticks. And in most circumstances, like, yeah, let's rob some tombs, see what happens when we start interfering with magic symbols. But unfortunately, in this playthrough, I'm a paladin, and I go against, casual grave robbery or archaeology was
I
they
wasn't
pretend
thinking
it
robbing the
is.
grave. I just wanted to poke the magic
You just wanted
symbol.
to remove the body and the goods.
No, I just wanted to poke the magic symbol and see what would happen.
Let's
Okay,
leave it
let's-
alone.
Then let's
All right.
move it forward. So,
All right.
back up or
Down.
further
No,
down.
I think we have to go down. I mean, we still have to find the
Yeah, we haven't found the leaves yet.
So
We're
we gotta go
extremely
down.
positive that they're down here somewhere.
They
So-
better be.
You exit that room and you're on the next ramp down.
Yeah.
And it goes down and it's the same distance.
the same and
the same kind of incline,
Okay.
walls. And then at the base of that, there's another ramp going down. And you have in that corner where those two ramps meet, the same type of room.
Holy crap!
Are these niches all full?
Yeah, so a few things are different. We'll say you know in a few minutes you guys go through that the same symbol is over each one of these. They are accoutred very, very similarly, as though in life they were warriors, and they are full. Now, as you guys continue, after those first two, you encounter 4 more rooms like this.
Holy Moses!
A temple or a tomb complex.
As you continue to go down.
Wow.
Now after...
Go ahead. Using my internal compasses, I feel like each one of these ramps that we've gone down has felt like the same distance, so we're making like a perfect square as we descend into the ground.
You are.
Okay.
Now, at that last one, Jacob, as you come down that last ramp, expecting it to be that room that the doorway kind of opens to both sides, both angles, it doesn't. It's just a straight ahead chamber. There's something different up ahead right now.
I hate this.
Yeah, me too.
I hate this a lot.
All right, so do you proceed into that area?
I will take point, yes.
Wait, before we proceed in, is there anything above this doorway? Is there anything to give us a clue?
Abandon
that
all
maybe,
hope, ye who enter here.
Maybe.
There is a pale blue light when you get closer to it on this ramp that shines from the space within, and it's very subtly, very, very softly illuminating the base of this ramp. Jacob, you're aware that this doorway takes you out of the square footprint of how you guys have been descending. So it would be adjacent to it in a 3-dimensional space and not in that same space.
I wonder if it's below the one we had above.
But there's no writing. There's no writing above the doors or anything like that.
All right.
Oh, yes. Can you tell where we are oriented?
Yeah, well, hey, how many turns did we make compared to when we got down here? I think you said 7 or 6 turns?
Yeah.
That it very well could line up with the space above.
Okay. I hate this.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
I'll take point through the doorway.
All right, so go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Of course.
This is just Boris. He was out front.
I am within 10 feet of myself.
Okay.
Natural 15 for a 22.
All right, so Boris...
I'm not dexterous, but I am charismatic, and I somehow add my charisma modifier to all my saves.
I love that.
Almost got me there.
I just charm myself into not doing whatever was wrong.
Confidence!
Boris is right at the edge of the doorway. He goes to take a step and pulls himself back, grabs the doorway, and you can see him go, because there is no floor.
Holy Moses!
And he nearly stepped into this place. Now, you can't help but, as you were starting to step through, looking up, because in that moment before you caught yourself and did not step through, you can see that about 100 feet up, there is a dome. It's about 75 feet wide, and the whole thing is like a soft blue light is coming from it. Being distracted by the ceiling, you almost step through where there's no floor.
How far down is it?
Well, as you're looking how far down it is, you're thinking, gosh, it looks maybe like, 40, 50 feet down. But what you notice is there is something maybe about 4 feet tall in the middle of this room, and it's just hovering over where there's no floor. So I want you all to make a perception roll as you're like looking, gosh, that distance, you're looking down.
17.
Yeah, so everybody well?
17.
29.
All right.
Nice.
So
Wow.
Jacob says, wait a second. Where Boris started to like scuff forward, then pulled back, you can see that some of the dirt that kicked forward on his foot is laying out there where there's no floor.
Oh, so there really is a floor.
You just got to believe.
Detect magic.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Yeah,
Done.
because dirt is known for believing.
Yep, I detect magic.
All right, so you are, and you said you also get some of the information about it, that there is magic out there right now. And as you are concentrating, you believe it to be of an evocation in nature.
You can see an aura. Can you see like a path?
I can see an aura, yeah.
The entire floor, in whatever range that has to it, if it's the whole thing, the entire floor across this thing looks to be a magical floor.
Okay,
So
so
like
the
there's some
floor
kind
is
of
actually
invisible
there.
floor.
It's like an invisible, right, yeah, exactly.
Maybe it only lets you step on it if you're
Crazy.
like not evilly aligned.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So dirt being as true neutral as it
Neutral
can
it can
be.
be.
Yeah, maximum true neutral.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll
so-
just reach my hand out and see if where the dirt is. If I
Yeah,
touch
I
there,
will-
does my hand pass
Yeah,
through?
Jacob,
Kind of tap with toes.
so you're both doing this, because it's a 10-foot wide door, that you're both touching a solid object that is floor. And with that, being up close and seeing the perspective, Jacob, you'd say the water that is flowing is 40 feet below you, and in that water down below, there's also like a dim light that's coming from the water itself.
So there's water beneath us, the dome
Yeah, the
above
glowing
us.
dome above us.
Can we see what's hovering? There's something 4 feet. Can we see it? Can we see that that's our leaves?
It looks like it is a column like that in Azongo's tower, and on it, it looks like there is an Adley tree statue.
All right. So kind of tapping with toe to verify that there is floor in front of me as I
Right.
advance. I'm going to
And
advance
let
towards
the
that.
record show,
Here-
I don't hate this any less. I still hate all of this.
Well, I'm gonna actually. I'm right behind Boris, so I'm gonna actually tap in front of him with my staff.
Like a blind person, just
Okay.
click,
Yeah,
click.
yeah. So that
Well,
you
when
know,
you
so it's
can't
not
see.
his toe. Yeah. But here's what I think is going to happen if we touch these things. All these warriors are going to wake up. So we might want to be prepared just to fly out through the dome. I'm
Well,
just saying.
this is a different dome up above us, I'm pretty sure.
I don't care.
Okay.
well, then there's no through.
All right, so
Just
a few
pray
things all at the
before we
same
touch
time.
anything.
Yeah.
With all the toe and staff tapping moving out, you are heading out in that direction. The closer to the center you get, you can see the illumination from above, this blue, and then from below in the water. It really is highlighting where this column itself is.
It's
And
like the center of an Adley tree,
Yeah.
where you would have
Yeah.
your Annunciation
the
ceremony.
closer you get to it, there is what's tantamount to like an overlapping of light makes it a beam right where it is. And you see not just leaves, you see roots, you see trunk, and you see the leaves sitting right above it. Now, Zelen, as you get within about 30 feet with your detect magic going, you note that there is magic associated with that column and the stuff that's on top of it right now.
Okay, so
yeah, the tree.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
all. That's all magic.
What kind?
What
That
kind?
There is two. There is conjuration, because you can see there's something right at the point where the trunk meets where the leaves are, and you also note that there is illusion.
Conjugation.
Conjuration.
Conjuration.
you're not changing the tense of a verb. You're not conjugating.
Seesaw.
Conjuration
yeah.
and illusion.
So I'm wondering, so we're currently seeing almost all the pieces of the Adley tree.
We're seeing the entire
Yeah.
Adley
Yeah,
tree.
so that's obviously the illusion,
All right.
because we already
And you-
have some of the other
Do you want me to
places,
just-
pieces.
And
Do
you're
you want
still
me to
walking
dispel
forward.
magic?
Well, I'm
no, I
gonna,
don't like you piloting our characters
gonna-
like that. We stop.
I'm there. I'm going to pick up the leaves.
Oh,
right.
okay.
As you move forward, Boris, and put your hands under there, your hands pass right through the leaves,
The whole thing's illusion.
Through the leaves.
and you realize that the entire thing is illusory.
Thanks for listening. As of right now, we have 4,150 listens, and I can't tell you how awesome that feels. Thank you all for continuing to listen and share our podcast with everyone you know and everyone you don't. I look forward to our continued growth and the eventual, inevitable, and long-awaited implementation of the Zellencam. As always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Empire's Edge to stay up to date on everything new, and show us your support by telling everyone you know about the podcast and by subscribing to us on subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge.